We'll begin this module by again looking at this table of incremental cash flows for a typical project. And in this module we'll be looking at incremental revenue and incremental costs. These are items of revenue and expenditure that normally occur each year throughout the life of a project. Remember that incremental means additional, not total. It's the change in the cash flows that occur that are relevant to making a decision. Incremental revenue therefore includes additional revenue over and above what would be received if the project was not undertaken. Incremental costs refers to additional expenses which are incurred over and above what would be the case if the project did not go ahead. Besides additional revenue and costs that are received and paid in cash, we also need to include any other incremental cash flows. These are amounts that the firm is better or worse off as a result of undertaking a decision. This doesn't necessarily mean that a cash flow has occurred. Sometimes, if by going ahead with a project a cash flow does not occur, then the firm is still better or worse off depending on the nature of the cash flow. A project to manufacture a new product will require the following changes to annual revenue and expenses. Revenue will increase from 1.5 million to 2.4 million. Wages are always 70% of revenue. And maintenance costs will decrease by $75,000. What is the incremental change in net revenue, which means revenue minus expenses, that need to be included in the incremental cash flows for this project? We have an increase in revenue of $900,000, but because 70% of revenue is paid out in wages, the increase in revenue received by the firm will be 30% of $900,000. And then if the firm is saving $75,000 in maintenance costs, then it is better off by $75,000. So that's a positive amount, bringing the total to $345,000. If you're having trouble understanding how we've arrived at this solution, here's an alternative approach. The old revenue was 1.5 million and the new is 2.4 million. So in terms of revenue, there's a positive incremental cash flow of $900,000. Since wages are 70% of revenue, the old wages were 75% of 1.5 million, or $1.05 million, which is a negative cash flow. The new wages bill is 70% of 2.4 million, which is a negative 1.68 million. And therefore, because wages have gone up, we are worse off by $630,000, which is the difference between these two amounts. As mentioned previously, if we are saving money in terms of maintenance, then there's a positive incremental cash flow of $75,000. We are better off by that amount because of the reduction in maintenance costs, and those incremental cash flows add up to $345,000.